Hi there, my name is Dylan Naidu and I'm from KZN Top Business. It's very good to have you here, Terry, today. Immediately, I just want to say I really enjoyed the article. Definitely have some questions about that. Firstly, the one question I really wanted to ask when you wrote this is that you do mention that businesses spend a lot of money on marketing and yet they still don't see the results that they want. What do you think might be the main issue with why that is the case?
Dylan, firstly, thank you for your time. I so appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. I think it's a couple of things. Firstly, business is not complicated. It's about the consistency, and we see this time and time again with clients where they'll blow hot and cold. It'll be, let's thrust a campaign here, let's pull back. Let's thrust a campaign, let's pull back. And unfortunately, for so many reasons, that lack of consistency means that the market, if nothing else, is experiencing you in ebbs and flows. And that, I think, is problematic, that you're missing that consistency. That's number one. Number two, effectively planning what you want your marketing to achieve. Set the KPIs, set the targets, set the goals. Set whatever you need to do so that you've got something to aim your marketing to achieve. And it's a fundamental error that businesses make. And then, Dylan, I'd say the third focus, and it's we've seen a shift in our business just in the last 3 years from being a digital agency to being a performance marketing company. And I think a big part of that shift came about because we got frustrated where so many people are just focusing on, we've got to build a brand, we've got to build a brand, we've got to build a brand. Not saying that that's not important, but when your marketing is being driven primarily to building a brand, unless there's a specific reason for it, I think it falls short. Your marketing needs to drive and grow your sales.
Absolutely brilliant, I must say. And then another question I did exactly want to ask. You do mention as well in your article that once you enter business, marketing is your business. How applicable do you think that is today, especially with the digital market that has grown out of it?
Yeah, fantastic question. I'd like to say it's more important nowadays than ever before, but I think we've seen an evolution in marketing, and it's always been, marketing has always been there. Where it is now, and certainly in the realm of accelerated artificial intelligence, is that there's so much more measurability and so much more automation available. And those are fundamental tools that need to be utilized so that your marketing is measurable and it's delivering and you know exactly what those numbers are. So when we see a client and we've had a look at their environment and have a look at it, let's say from a Google perspective, we want to forecast with them for every rand you're spending, what is the return that you want to achieve within your industry, based on your budget, based on your stage in the business growth life cycle. Are we looking at a 10x or a 20x or a 100x even return on that? Because you want to know that every rand that you put in, the business is getting 5 rand or 10 rand or 20 rand out in terms of top or midline revenue, and that's important.
Yeah, definitely. And then you do also mention that there are simple steps that can be followed in order to achieve this success. And okay, from what I've read, I thought the first step was probably the most important because you have to attract that audience. But what do you think is the most important step to follow?
Brilliant question. Look, so long as your business fundamentals are good and sound, you've got the right product, you know that there's a demand for it, you've got the cash flow enablement, you've got the people who can deliver a continuous and hopefully an evolving quality of service or product. But the key mistake and the fundamental thing that I spend probably more so than any other component when we're looking at strategic planning is identifying your target market. The number of businesses, B2B, B2C, whether it is a service business or whether it's a commodities or product business, the reply I get back to who is your ideal target audience is invariably, oh, well, it's everybody. And then you start deconstructing that and going, everybody? Will they buy again from you? Are we enabling a repeat client? Are they able to buy more from you within what you're offering? Is there a cross-sell, upsell opportunity? Can they pay? Are they the sort of client who's going to stick around for a long time? And then are they the sort of client who can then become such a raving fan for your business that they become your marketing engine through the often untapped opportunities of referrals, intentional referrals? A lot of businesses survive on incidental referrals, but intentional, putting a plan and strategy into place. So very simply, the greatest challenge in terms of top of funnel is very clearly identifying who your ideal target audience is, not just a broad target market.
Absolutely. And then what do you think is the biggest thing for young or just graduate marketers that have just come out of college, they just come out of university? What do you think is, how do you think they're going to grow the industry, especially as they, like you said, they grow up in the digital age?
Quite honestly, with the acceleration, automation of AI, it's going to be challenging for them. So the first point of that is make sure you are deeply AI proficient, that you understand how to go into a business and automate and accelerate what they're doing, utilizing the ever-growing artificial tools that are available, artificial intelligence tools that are available. That's the first thing. The second thing is, whatever it takes, learn to communicate. Learn to communicate, not just in an interview where people are often so nervous, but actually build those relationships. Because I really believe, and it's actually, I'm thinking of writing a book called the Technology Humanity Polarity. We're in an age and stage, and it's only going to accelerate. In fact, it's going to hyper accelerate, where that disparity between technology and humanity is going to get bigger and bigger. Those who understand, learn, and know how to bridge the gap, utilize, harness, and harvest the technology, but do it in a way that is deeply relational, where people can relate to you and understand you, and you can build real relationships, not schmarmy, salesy relationships, real, meaningful relationships. So that's definitely it. AI proficiency, communication, and then I think what is really important that is so often lacking is just watch or read business news, so you actually get, and this is why I love Business Sense, you get to understand the pulse of what is happening in business, locally, regionally, nationally, content in terms of Africa-wide and globally, so that you've got a finger on the pulse, so that when you're having those conversations and building those meaningful relationships, it's meaningful because you're talking about elements of business that you've read up on, and make that a habit.
Absolutely. This has been Dylan Naidu from KZN Top Business, and thank you. Back to the studio.